This video is at a really weird angle. Now that's worse. That'll have to do. I'm tired. Hello, I'm Will and welcome back to the Bald Book Geek. So this is an update. I look like crap and I apologise. There was a video going up that I had worked on that was part of a cancelled Readathon. The cancelled Readathon was cancelled. I'm overly unhappy because I worked damn hard on that video. I had a lot of stuff that I pre-filmed that I'm now going to have to re-edit. And I'm like, what the hell do I do with half of it? So I'm going to be doing some videos on like banned books and banned book reviews, which I think will be really cool. And the cancellation started with one tweet by someone I won't name, who, in their own words, didn't say it was her that she didn't cancel it. But once you play certain cards in any situation, it closes all debate and discussion about anything. And then it just becomes a mess. I mean, book Twitter, full stop, is a bit of a rat dive, isn't it? Book Twitter, I find most are these white, middle-class, university-educated, 20-something-year-old women, and even 30-something-year-old women who scream about YA and dictate what people of colour and gay people and trans people should be reading, and it gets a little bit frustrating because I'm like, you don't know my experience, you don't have a penis. Like, whatever. But I mean, like, this whole notion that people, I mean, AG did a video that is going to be far better than this, and I'll link to AG's video below, just because it's brilliant, and one of the best discussions I think I've ever seen on BookTube. But what I'm going to say, what one person finds problematic, I really hate that word, by the way, it's a get-out clause for everything, or if a book makes someone uncomfortable, fine, just don't read it, put it away, say what you think and move on. But don't attack people, harass people, shame people publicly for reading, liking, or enjoying said book. Because we all have different levels of discomfort. You know, that's how it works. Books are there to make you think. And if you are living within a bubble, creating this weird bubble online, which a lot of people do, and I'm probably a bit guilty of that, where we tend to, like Twitter and social media, we create bubbles of people that agree with us. And I think that's just tribalism of us as a human species. It just ends up becoming a one-sided discussion, and I've seen a lot of people bang on, oh, I'm anti-censorship, don't ban books, but if you read this book that I found remotely problematic, then I'm going to hate you and shame you and tell you why you shouldn't be reading it and why it should be banned. Hypocrites! All I'm going to say, a load of hypocrites. I'm just over this notion of that. Like, and also I think American centrism of BookTube does not help. I mean, I get it. A lot of our American cousins do forget that there is very different places outside America. Every country has different laws. Like, I got a really nasty email over my love for Call Me By Your Name and how it apparently related to underage stuff and how it was... And I'm like, that's legal here. A basic Google search will tell you the ages of consent in different countries is different everywhere you go. Europe, the age of consent is predominantly 16. Some countries it's 15, but it's predominantly 16 across Europe and the UK. And, I mean, in the UK, you can technically die for your country at 16. So, and probably because Europe in general has a more open discussion and debate about sex and sexuality than America, where most Americans are far more conservative and sex makes them very uncomfortable. I mean, like, I've also seen stuff on Twitter recently, this girl saying that all genre fiction is fascism. And I mean that god-awful SJW art style you see on Tumblr, where it's very soft and Play-Doh-y like, thumbnail, and she's apparently writing a book and confused fairy tales with mythology, and that's a whole different thing. I mean, any basic literacy one-on-one course would tell you there are a fundamental difference between mythology, fairy tales, and literary fiction and genre fiction, and so on. You know, people make broad, sweeping generalizations and expect everyone to agree with them, and get annoyed when people call them out on their shit. Real life doesn't work that way. Any debate class, anything you're going to deal with, just It doesn't. And I will say I've been on the receiving end of some hate on social media and YouTube and other things, because apparently I promote problematic books, and I don't see why they're problematic. I can see some issues, don't get me wrong, but I would rather discuss a problem than shame someone or talk about it. There's no point doing any discussion or debate or anything without a two-sided conversation. You need to see both sides. You know, I mean, look at Joker. Like AG said in his video, look at Joker. Look at that on social media. Oh, violent movies make people... No, violent video games and violent movies do not make people violent. Reading a book about a rapist does not make you or the writer a rapist. The art is not the artist. They are genuinely works of fiction, and there are some great books, crime books, that are very dark about that stuff that are amazing. But you do kind of sit here in a chair and think... Really? I think when people are used to being able to shut down discussion and debate by playing certain cards, that says a lot about that person, but also I think it says a lot about the fact that we don't encourage debate. And people like I made the joke in one video where, you know, the mob, a non-conformist opinion on Twitter. Book Twitter with pitchforks, you know, BookTube and Book Twitter, Goodreads people, you know, I think with the death of Tumblr, where people tended to keep this bullshit, tends to, now it goes across the board, and now it's just kind of spilling out into other social media platforms. It's always been there, but it's got worse, and this year I've noticed a real change, and it's become quite vicious and quite nasty, and I don't think we need it. Also, I just want to say, this light is amazing on the beard. We can't shut down debate just because something makes us uncomfortable. Just because something makes me uncomfortable, I'm not going to shut down a debate on it, and I'm not going to shame people for liking it or loving it. I mean, Joker is not going to make people violent. Joker is not going to cause anything. There is no difference to this movie than any other movie like Taxi Driver, for example, and that's a classic. That's beautiful. Or The Deer Hunter, you know, or The Godfather. You know, these are violent films, and they're brilliant. Films that probably wouldn't necessarily get made today because 18 certificates are deaf at the box office. A villain can have an origin. A villain can be unredeemable. A villain doesn't have to be redeemable or nice or have a heart. Some people are just downright fucked in the head. That's real life as well. And I'm going to put this out there. I mean, and also this debate, ages ago, there was a debate on it, like, oh, if you were going to write a fantasy novel, it needs to be historically accurate, and this happens in medieval Europe, it's like this. I got blocked by a crazy cat lady because of this. But I said, no, it's fantasy. You can do what you want. It's fantasy. You can pull from any historical period, anywhere you want, and mix it all together and make a big churny mess. You know, again, that shut down discussion and debate. And if you're going to shut that down, sometimes it just makes my head hurt. Like, this bullshit just makes my head hurt.